It's the kind of update that hits you in two completely different ways, at once a moment where joy and heartbreak collide. 1 minute, there's hope, growth, and something worth celebrating. And the next, there's loss, grief, and a reminder of how fragile life can be. Kelvin Fletcher, best known to many fans for his time on Emmerdale, has shared what he calls a bittersweet update from his farm life following a sudden loss, and the emotional honesty behind his words has deeply moved fans. Welcome back to the channel, where we bring you the latest stories from the world of entertainment. Stories that go beyond the headlines and reveal the real human experiences behind them. Today's story is one that blends personal life with public attention, showing us a side of celebrity that feels raw, grounded, and incredibly relatable. Because this isn't just about fame or television, it's about life outside the spotlight. For those who have followed Kelvin Fletcher's journey, his transition from actor to farmer has been nothing short of fascinating. After years of portraying Andy Sugden on Emmerdale, Fletcher stepped into a completely different world, trading scripts and studio sets for early mornings, muddy boots, and the unpredictable rhythms of farm life. It's a change that many admired, but few fully understood until he began sharing the reality of it. Through television appearances and social media updates, Fletcher has opened a window into his new life, showing both the beauty and the challenges that come with it. Farming, as he's made clear, isn't just a lifestyle, it's a commitment. It demands patience, resilience, and an acceptance that not everything is within your control. And that's exactly what makes this latest update so powerful. In a recent revelation, Kelvin Fletcher described a deeply emotional moment on the farm, one that involved both a new beginning and an unexpected loss. While there was excitement surrounding developments on the farm, that joy was overshadowed by the sudden passing of one of the animals. It's a moment that perfectly captures the reality of rural life. For many people watching from the outside, farms can seem peaceful, even idyllic. But those who live that life know it comes with heartbreak as well as happiness. Animals are not just part of the work, they become part of the family. Their lives are closely intertwined with the people who care for them, making any loss deeply personal. Fletcher's description of the situation was honest and emotional. He didn't shy away from the pain of what had happened, nor did he try to mask it with positivity. Instead, he spoke about the experience as it truly was bittersweet. On one hand, there were signs of growth and progress on the farm. New life, new opportunities, and moments that reminded him why he chose this path in the first place. On the other hand, there was grief, a sudden loss that served as a stark reminder of how unpredictable this life can be. That contrast is what resonated so strongly with fans, because it's real. In many ways, Fletcher's story mirrors something universal. Life rarely offers pure joy or pure sorrow. More often, it's a mixture of both, happening at the same time. And it's in those moments that people often find the deepest meaning. Fans were quick to respond to Fletcher's update, with messages pouring in across social media. Many expressed their condolences, acknowledging how difficult it must be to experience loss in such a close and immediate way. Others shared their admiration for his honesty, praising him for showing the reality of farm life rather than an idealized version. There were also those who connected with the story on a personal level. People who have lived or worked on farms spoke about their own experiences, describing similar moments where joy and heartbreak existed side by side. Their comments added another layer to the conversation, turning Fletcher's update into something bigger, a shared understanding of what it means to care for animals and the emotional investment that comes with it. Media outlets also picked up the story, highlighting not just the loss itself, but the way Fletcher chose to talk about it. In an industry where personal struggles are often filtered or softened, his willingness to be open stood out. And that openness is part of what has made his journey so compelling. Since leaving the world of acting full-time, Kelvin Fletcher has built a new identity, one that blends his public persona with a deeply personal lifestyle. His farm has become more than just a place to live. It's a symbol of change, growth, and a different kind of success. But stories like this remind us that success doesn't come without challenges. From an industry perspective, Fletcher's transition is also significant. It reflects a broader trend of celebrities stepping away from traditional paths and exploring new passions. Whether it's farming, business ventures, or creative projects, there's a growing desire among public figures to redefine what their careers look like. And in Fletcher's case, that reinvention has been both inspiring and eye-opening. However, moments like this also highlight the realities behind those choices. Farming is not an escape from difficulty. it's a different kind of challenge altogether. It requires emotional resilience as much as physical effort, and it often involves facing situations that are both unpredictable and deeply affecting. That's why this bittersweet update carries so much weight. It's not just a personal story, it's a glimpse into a life that many people romanticize, but few truly understand. Looking ahead, it's clear that Kelvin Fletcher will continue to share his journey, both the highs and the lows. His openness has created a strong connection with his audience, one that goes beyond his work on Emmerdale and into something more personal. Fans are likely to remain invested, not just because of who he is, but because of the authenticity he brings to his story. As for the farm itself, life will go on, as it always does. There will be new challenges, new successes, and undoubtedly more moments that test his resilience. But if this update has shown anything, it's that Fletcher is willing to face those moments head-on and share them with honesty. And that's something audiences truly value. As we come to the end of this story, it's clear that this wasn't just an update, it was a reminder. A reminder that life, whether on screen or off, is rarely simple. It's filled with moments that make us smile and moments that break our hearts, often at the same time. Kelvin Fletcher's bittersweet farm news captures that reality perfectly, offering a glimpse into a world where joy and loss exist side by side. And perhaps that's why it resonates so deeply. Because in the end, it's not just his story, it's something we all recognize in our own lives. Now, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Kelvin Fletcher's emotional update? Do you admire his decision to share both the highs and lows of farm life so openly? And have you ever experienced a moment that felt both? Welcome back to the channel, where we go beyond the headlines to uncover the real stories behind the stars. Today's story isn't just about television or celebrity. It's about life, change, and the unexpected moments that remind us how unpredictable everything can be. And in this case, it's about a journey that started on screen, but has evolved into something far more personal. Because when Kelvin Fletcher walked away from the familiar world of scripts, storylines, and studio lights, he didn't just change careers, he changed his entire way of life. For years, audiences knew him as Andy Sugden, a central figure in Emmerdale. His character was deeply embedded in the fabric of the show, involved in some of its most dramatic and emotional storylines. Viewers watched him grow, struggle, and evolve, building a connection that extended far beyond the screen. But behind the scenes, Fletcher was ready for something different. His decision to embrace farm life wasn't just a career move. It was a lifestyle shift that surprised many. Trading long filming schedules for early mornings on the land, he stepped into a world that is as rewarding as it is demanding. And while the idea of a celebrity becoming a farmer might sound like a romantic escape, the reality, as Fletcher has shown, is far more complex. Farming isn't glamorous. It's unpredictable, physically demanding, and emotionally intense. It requires patience, resilience, and a willingness to face challenges that don't follow a script. And that's exactly why this latest update feels so powerful. In a recent moment of reflection, Kelvin Fletcher shared news from his farm that perfectly captures the duality of this life. There was joy, real, tangible joy, in the form of progress, growth, and new beginnings. But at the same time, there was loss. Sudden, unexpected, and deeply felt. One of the animals on the farm had passed away. It's a simple statement, but one that carries enormous emotional weight. For those who have never lived or worked on a farm, it can be difficult to fully understand the impact of such a loss. Animals are not just part of the job, they are part of the daily rhythm of life. They are cared for, nurtured, and watched over. They become familiar, even cherished. And when something happens to them, it's not just a professional setback, it's personal. Fletcher didn't shy away from that reality. He didn't present a polished version of events, or try to soften the blow. Instead, he spoke openly about the emotional complexity of the moment. He described it as bittersweet, a word that perfectly captures the coexistence of joy and sorrow. Because while there was grief, there was also something else happening at the same time. There were signs of life, growth, renewal, moments that reminded him why he chose this path in the first place. That contrast, the simultaneous presence of happiness and heartbreak, is what resonated so deeply with fans. Because it's something everyone understands, even outside the context of farming. Life rarely unfolds in neat, separate chapters of joy and sorrow. More often, the two are intertwined. A celebration might be tinged with sadness. A loss might be accompanied by a reminder of what still remains. And in those moments, we're forced to confront the complexity of our emotions. That's exactly what Fletcher's story represents. It's not just about what happened on the farm. It's about how he experienced it, how he processed it, and how he chose to share it with others. And that openness has struck a chord. As soon as the update became public, fans began responding in large numbers. Social media filled with messages of support, sympathy, and admiration. Many people expressed their condolences, acknowledging how difficult it must be to experience such a loss. But beyond that, there was a deeper layer of connection. People who have lived similar lives, whether on farms or in other environments where animals are part of daily life, shared their own experiences. They spoke about the emotional bonds that form, the sense of responsibility that comes with caring for animals, and the heartbreak that follows when something goes wrong. Their stories echoed Fletcher's, creating a sense of shared understanding. Even those without direct experience found something relatable in the update. The idea of facing joy and loss at the same time is something that transcends specific circumstances. It's a universal experience, one that connects people across different backgrounds and lifestyles. Media coverage of the story reflected this emotional depth. Rather than focusing solely on the loss, many outlets highlighted the honesty with which Fletcher approached the situation. In an industry where public figures often feel pressure to maintain a certain image, his willingness to show vulnerability stood out. And it's that authenticity that has defined this chapter of his life. Since stepping away from full-time acting, Kelvin Fletcher has built a new identity, one that blends his public persona with a deeply personal journey. His farm is not just a setting, it's a reflection of his values, his choices, and his willingness to embrace a different kind of challenge. But as this update reminds us, that challenge comes with its own set of realities. Farming is not an escape from difficulty. If anything, it introduces new forms of it. It requires constant attention, adaptability, and emotional resilience. It demands that you face situations that are unpredictable and, at times, deeply affecting. And yet, it also offers moments of incredible reward. That balance is what makes the lifestyle so compelling, and so difficult to fully understand from the outside. From a broader perspective, Fletcher's journey is part of a larger trend within the entertainment industry. More and more public figures are stepping away from traditional career paths to explore new passions. Whether it's farming, entrepreneurship, or creative ventures, there's a growing desire to redefine what success looks like. In many cases, that means stepping into unfamiliar territory, taking risks, embracing uncertainty, and, as Fletcher's story shows, being willing to face both the highs and the lows that come with it. Looking ahead, it's clear that this moment will not define Fletcher's journey, but it will shape it. The farm will continue to evolve. There will be new challenges, new opportunities, and new moments that test his resilience. And through it all, he will likely continue to share his experiences with the same honesty that has resonated so strongly with his audience. Fans, in turn, will remain invested, not just in what happens, but in how he tells the story. Because at the heart of it all, this isn't just about farming or even about celebrity. It's about life. It's about the moments that don't fit neatly into categories of happiness or sadness. The moments that force us to hold two opposing emotions at once. The moments that remind us of what we've lost, while also showing us what we still have. And those are often the moments that stay with us the longest. As we come to the end of this story,